Alright, so I made a video about the good things about Western Express. This is the corresponding video about the bad things about Western Express. Now, before I talk about the downsides of this company, I want everybody to understand, if you haven't watched any of my other videos or my other video talking about the good things about this company, I just want you to understand that just because I'm saying there are some bad things about this company, it's not just the company is shit. I'm not trying to make this company is a total piece of shit video. If you want to watch those, there's plenty of other motherfuckers that have them. But I just wanted to be clear and honest about some of the, problems with this company. Every company out there, regardless of how fucking perfect they may look or sound or whatever, every company has downsides. In this industry and every other industry. So it's a universal thing. So with this video, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of working here. I'm not trying to tell anybody they should quit or don't come work for Western Express or any of that. That's not what I'm trying to convey here. It's just that every company has some bad attributes, and I just wanted to talk about the bad attributes of this particular company. I just want to make that known before anybody watches this video. So let me start with talking about miles. Miles, and not just miles necessarily, but inconsistency. Now, the biggest problem when you watch any video or listen to any advice from anyone about really anything is you're not getting back fact necessarily, not all the time. A lot of what you're getting back from even a first-hand account is someone's fucking opinion. You see what I'm saying? And not just their opinion, but their personal experience. So what I'm going to be talking about is from my own personal experience as far as miles and things like that. Now, some of the problems that I'm going to talk about, everybody in this company has to deal with, right? But some of them, they may just be me, they may just be my DM or my division. With my DM, if you're coming into this company as Van and you're going to have a completely different DM and a completely different everything, there's different things about the Van, that may not apply to you, but, I will talk about miles. Now, I've talked about miles and the inconsistency of the miles in other videos, but, that's kind of become the biggest problem that I've kind of had with the company, is that I just haven't been getting as good of miles lately as I used to. Now, that's not 100% the company's fault. Anybody could tell you the freight market has been a little slow for the second quarter of 2016. Specifically the flatbed freight market, I get that. There's nothing that a company can do to change the fucking market. What a company can do is try to protect and insulate themselves from the market at least the best they can. And one of the ways of doing that is, you get good customers and good accounts that will always be, they're always going to be making steel coils, and a lot of steel products and shit like that. There's certain products, certain shippers and receivers that are always going to be shipping and receiving. And you need to, if that's you're a trucking company, that's what you should be doing. You should be working all the time, and I'm sure they are putting in an effort to do this. I mean, I've actually bumped into one of their salesmen at a shipper way up in, I think it was Massachusetts. I ran into our salesmen from Nashville at a shipper who was talking about setting up an account with them, like a more stronger account, using us more, whatever. Look, so I get that they're probably, they're putting in the effort, they're doing what they're supposed to do, but they're probably not doing it well enough. You need to work the best you can against, when the market slows down. You need to account for that. You can't just, it doesn't make any sense. It's not ethical to just hire 1,000 people for when everything is up and then just fucking fire them all when things slow down. I mean, that's what the unions do. I mean, I guess that works if you're in a union. Just, oh, well, project's over. Everybody go home for the next 6 months till we find you some more work. Just, good luck on your unemployment checks. Like, that's what kept me from joining the fucking union back when I worked construction. I was like, you could just lose your fucking job at any time, everything slowed down, you guys aren't going to work for the next year, good luck on your $800 a month, some shit. That's just, fuck all that. But anyways, the miles have been a little inconsistent. I feel like part of the reason why as well is they're still hiring too many people when the market slows down. You don't keep hiring people left and right, just dozens of people when the market slows down. Stop buying trucks and stop hiring people just for a little while, just temporarily, until business picks back up again. If you can't keep, and that's how it works in any other industry, and I've talked about this before, when things slow down, if they slow down enough, the first people you lay off are the rookies, because people with seniority, they've been there longer. That's how it works. So it's fucking always worked for the most part. So when things slow down, you stop hiring. When things really slow down, you got a choice. Start laying people off or close up shop. You got to start laying people off, right? So, but the trucking industry is a little bit different than other industries. That's how another industry would work. People aren't eating at your restaurant anymore. You can start letting go of waiters. You can close up shop. What are you going to do, right? But anyways, the miles are starting to pick up a little bit again, but it's like, for instance, brought a load down here to Laredo yesterday at noon, got here around noon, 1 o'clock, got to this pot, grabbed me an empty trailer, dropped that trailer to go to Mexico, and I grabbed an empty, and I've been sitting here. It's Tuesday night. I've been here since yesterday at 3 o'clock, so, tomorrow's Wednesday morning, I'm still sitting here. And I talked to the guy who's filling in for my DM, and he says, I haven't forgotten about you, man. You're the first truck on my list when something comes over the border, And there's quite a few Western trucks down here, and that's one of the things they fuck up at. They bought a load of these telephone poles going over the border to Mexico, right? Well, this was probably 100, 150 truck order. Big fucking order of these telephone poles, right? Because I've been seeing all the Western trucks and all the trailers that we have going over the border, coming down here. But look, man, if you grab a load of 100, say it's a 100 truck order, it's 100 trucks that over a couple of weeks are going to be coming down here to Laredo. You need to have loads lined up to get us back out. It doesn't make sense for you to dump 20. This same fucking shit happens, and this is what happened to me when I made those videos when I was stuck in Southern California. They had all these trucks out in the Southwest, and they stopped shipping copper for a while, and all these trucks were stranded. They had nothing set up. They figured they could just fall back on the copper loads because copper is always shipping, 365 days a year, unless there's a problem with the process and they got to shut down production. That's what they did. They shut down production for a couple weeks and it left us all fucking stranded because they didn't have anything lined up for us to get out of Southern California. They couldn't find anything, Now, what I believe they really should have done is they should have put us all on van loads going back east. They should have figured something out, and they should. There's 150 fucking van trailers, if not more, down there in Southern California. Our van trailers on our yard. There was probably 20 of us, 20 flatbed trucks stuck. What they should have done is should have lined us all up with van trailers, had us pick up loads somewhere in SoCal or Arizona, and had us all take those loads east. I don't know all the ins and outs of what was going on. I'm sure the van division didn't want to give up any freight, but it's like we're part of a company. It don't matter if it's van or flatbed. We're all here to make money for the same fucking company. So if you got 20 flatbed trucks stuck, the van division should, you know, offer up some fucking freight. You know, it's like we're stealing their freight. Like, no, we're the van. You can't take van loads. What are we gonna give to the van drivers? Like, come on now. It's just stupid, you know. Why have us sit like that? So, you know, it's shit like that. It's inconsistency. You know, I was talking to another Western driver a little earlier, and he couldn't have put it any more clearly, any more plainly. He's like, this is one of the big reasons that we would work for a big carrier, for a big company, is consistency. Consistent miles, consistent freight. You know, a large company like this, it's got a division of salespeople. They got an administration building full of people working on keeping these trucks on the road. They got a whole shop and a body shop and a trailer shop and all this shit at this big ass terminal, multiple terminals, and it's all dedicated to one thing: keeping the wheels turning, keeping the freight running, right? So at a large carrier, that's what the object of the game is. If the wheels are turning, we're making money and the company's making money. Anything else, everybody's out of the job, right? The recruiters, you know, the guys who take the physical, the guys who change the tires in the shop, nobody has a fucking job anymore if these wheels aren't turning. This is where we are, what produces the money in a company. When we sit, no money's coming in. Right? That's why you would work at a large carrier, is the security of knowing, you know, this company's been around 25 years. They're not just going to close up shop out of nowhere and you're just going to be without a job and you have to figure something else out. You know, a lot of these bigger carriers have stood the test of time. And that's one of the good thing about bigger carriers, is they're able to survive economic downturns easier than a lot of smaller trucking companies. They fold up when the economy takes a downturn because they just can't afford to keep going. They don't have the millions in asset and the millions of dollars set aside like these bigger companies do. You know, that can afford to take a hit when the economy down. So they're not going to fold up and shit. So stuff like that. So, you know, it's just the inconsistency, and that's my biggest problem with the company. It's the miles and inconsistency, you know. And I used to do really well. I just haven't been doing as well. Now, I mean, I've still been making money. I've still been making decent money, but I could be making more, you know. Especially, I could be making a higher cent per mile wage at another company, you know. I mean, and another thing is the freight. You know, if we hauled more specialized, more oversized, more permit loads, shit, if they were to open, I was telling this other guy this, if they were to start a specialized division of this company, you know, especially something like you have to have a year of experience in flatbedding, and then, you know, you can drive for Western Express Specialized, and we have RGN low boys, and, you know, they get some newer step decks and shit like that, you know, that we could start doing heavy haul and some oversized shit. And if the money were there, I'd be all over it. I'd be fucking all over it, you know. You know, buy some 13-speed trucks maybe, you know, that'd be super cool. You know, I hate changing companies. I fucking hate it. So if I had the opportunity to stay, if they fix some things and I could stay, I'd stay for the fucking long haul. I really would. But it's not looking that way, you know. So they don't run enough oversized. I love running oversized. It's good money, and I love the challenge. We hardly ever fucking run any of it. Most of the oversized we get, they give to the lease purchase guys, which is understandable. They need the fucking money to pay for the truck anyway and the fuel and shit, right? And we got so many rookies working here, you know. I would not have wanted myself to run an oversized load after I've been doing this at least 6 months, you know, because, you know, you gotta know what you're doing when you're hauling specialized loads. But one thing I want to talk about is the equipment. It's trucks and trailers. Now, I should have talked about trucks as a good thing in my good things about this company video, right? The trucks are new. At this point, the average age of the truck, I think it used to be like 3 years old. Now I'd say it's probably 1.5 years. You know, because at this point, they're buying new trucks. They just bought like 500-600 brand spanking new trucks, you know. Now, they're not optioned out, you know, they're base models, but it's still a new truck. You know, and I've had to deal with very little issues, very, very little issues, you know, with the trucks. You know, they've always got good tires, and for the most part, they take pretty good care of the trucks and the equipment and stuff like that. So that's a good thing that I forgot to put in the good thing video. But as good as the trucks may be, I'm in a 2015 truck. I mean, I've got it with about 25,000 miles on it. Now I'm pushing 100,000, and it still hasn't given me any issues. Tell me this, answer this question. How much good does a brand new truck do me if my trailer is 25 years old and it's a piece of shit? That's the problem with the flatbed side of the company. A lot of these 53 foots, I don't know how old the 48s are. I think the 48 footers are about 15, 20 years old. But a lot of the 53 footers have tags that were issued in 1994. You know, and it was 20 odd years ago. Some of these trailers are older than 20 years old. Some of these trailers are 25 fucking years old, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, the Alabama terminal in Birmingham is specifically dedicated to refurbishing the 53 footers. They're putting all new lights, new tires, they're gutting them and redoing them top to bottom, which is kind of cool. You know, I mean, it's cheap, but it's nice, you know. Really, I think what they should do is start selling these fuckers off, used, and start replacing them with some aluminum, you know, nicer aluminum trailers. I've said it before, we've got the oldest flatbed trailers of any major carrier in the industry. You may see some older flatbeds out there, but it's usually owner-operators hauling them. You know, they bought them used for cheap. You know, major carrier, TMC and Maverick and fucking even Swift, they're hauling aluminum step decks and shit like that. Swift even has nicer headache racks on their trucks than we do. And that's fucking sad. It's Swift, for fuck's sake. You know, that's one thing that pisses me off, you know? Swift has nicer trailers than we do. They have newer trailers. Every other company's rocking aluminum trailers, even their 53 footers. And we've got these old ass steel frame trailers. The rub rails are, even when they refurbish these trailers, a lot of times the rub rails are fucked up. There may still be holes in the deck, you know, and the 48 footers, which comprise maybe 40% of our flatbed trailer fleet, they're not getting refurbished at all. They still got, like the trailer I got, it was PM'd in February, which I guess was like 6 months ago. It's still got its original air tank on it, which is, it's corroded to shit. You know, these 48s, they only replace on them what they need to replace. And then, you know, a couple months later, something else is fucking up because all the wiring is corroded. In the wintertime, every single trailer I get has wiring problems, and I'm out there in the snow fixing wirings. It's to the point I have splice kits just for fixing lights and shit. You know, I got my strippers and crimpers and butt splices and all that stuff because, you know, the wiring gets so corroded. You got to strip it back, and even when you strip it back, all the copper is green and corroded. You can't hardly get a good connection. You know, it's just so many problems. Even they'll put brand new tires and even brand new rims on them, but then you're having problems with something else. You know, winches are fucked up and bent. The winch rails are broken and coming off. You know, it's just these brand new trucks. They're nice, but when you're having all these problems with the trailers, it's the same thing. You're still having to take trailers to the shop. You got trailers with missing lights, fucked up wiring, and, you know, the air tanks have cracks in them, and, you know, they have pretty bad air leaks and stuff like that. You know, the trailers is the worst thing. You know, we got the worst trailers. They need to start replacing these goddamn trailers. The way they look at it is it's cheaper for us to refurbish and completely refit the trailers instead of just buying new ones. Because the way they look at it is, well, the frame and the deck itself is just metal. You know, it's not really that worn out. Let's just put all new stuff on them. Instead of a $50,000 trailer, we'll put $5 or $10 grand into refurbishing it. You know, but this ain't, you know, they're not doing it with the 48s, only the 53s, which doesn't make sense to me. You know, start selling these fucking 48s and buying new 48s. In fact, what they should do is they should take these 48 footers and start equipping them with side kits and tarps over them, make them covered wagons, and start start making some dedicated, guys that only run steel and steel coils. Maybe put some curtain sides on them, Conestoga curtain sides, and they could just run tarp loads all the time. Yeah, you're gonna have to invest some money into, God forbid, you got to invest in curtain sides and some side kits. But we could start running coils a lot faster than dealing with all this fucking equipment and tarping and all this bullshit. We could start running coils and steel and lumber and sheetrock really fucking fast, because you don't have to worry about all the tarping and shit, but that would require an investment, and they're too cheap to do that, in my opinion. It's about quantity and not quality with this company. We're kind of the Walmart of the trucking, of the flatbed industry. It's just lower prices, but overall kind of lower quality, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So that that's a really shitty thing about this company is just the goddamn trailers. Dealing with issues with the fucking trailers all the time. Another thing I will say that's kind of shitty about this company is, when you go on the yard, I've talked about this before, is like, it's their equipment, so you're only allowed to have the equipment that you're allotted. If you got too much equipment or too many timbers or whatever, Robert, who runs the equipment, he could tell the rookies that are in training, hey, pull all those timbers off. He don't need that many timbers. You only need 6 timbers and 6 rubbers. So what happens when I gotta haul 4 suicide coils, 4 aluminum coils, which I've hauled before out of Alcoa and Lancaster, Pennsylvania? That requires 8 bevel timbers and at least 8 fucking rubber pieces, conveyor pieces, you know what I mean? If they only send you out of the yard with 6, then when you get to the shipper, what are you supposed to do? I can't take this load. I gotta sit and wait for another load, or I gotta try to see if I can beg somebody for equipment, Of course, there's workarounds. There's ways to work around that. Number 1 rule is don't ever go on the yard if you don't have to. It's been a long time since this truck has gone through that gate in Nashville. It's been a long time. I park on the outside and then I leave, because I have extra equipment that I hide when I go onto the yard so they won't strip me of it. You only can have 2 2-inch straps, I keep, I'm not going to tell you how many I keep, but I keep more than 2. But they'll take them from you if you go on the yard and they see you. You can only have 18 4-inch straps. It's just a pain in the dick, and it drives me crazy. They short you on equipment, but you don't have to pay for the equipment, so I mean it's a trade-off, And like I said, there's ways to work around that. You can carry more equipment than they'll let you have, you just gotta work it out, One bad thing I say, I'll try to wrap this video up. Every single fucking load that I've hauled for this company that is a permitted load, I've had problems with the permits. Which doesn't make sense to me when you have people whose job it is to order and supply these motherfucking permits. I've every overweight or oversized load I've hauled for this company, either they send me the permits and I'm going through 4 states and they didn't send me 1 state, and then they want to try to tell me I don't need a permit for that state. I'm like, my load's 14 feet wide, or 12 feet wide, or however wide it was. It's, yes, I need a permit. All 48 fucking states you need a permit for a 14-foot wide load. Are you kidding me? And then they just, I always fuck up the information on the permit, or it takes them forever to get it to you, or they don't have it, they don't order them when they get the load. They know the load is gonna be oversized, but they don't have the permits ready to go and order. That just drives me crazy. Every time I get a permitted load, it's like, the extra pay I'm gonna get from this being an oversized load, I'm gonna lose it in time lost on waiting for permits to get unfucked, right? So that's one thing that just drives me absolutely batshit crazy when it comes to this company, is dealing with the permits. It's like, you're a major carrier. Be more fucking organized. There's been times where it's like, why don't I just order the permits myself? And I'll just have them reimburse me for the fucking charge for the permits, But it's not that simple. You gotta go through, you gotta order the permits, you gotta use permit service, and all that shit, But I figure, you know, if I was ordering the permits, they wouldn't be fucked up. You know, and it's just a lot of inconsistencies. There's too much inconsistency for a large carrier. You know what I mean? But those are really the big things that I could talk about in this company. Now, by the way, with the trailers, that doesn't apply to the van division because they're getting new fucking trailers. You know? And I talked to a van driver and they're like, well, you know, we've been hauling old trailers. We deserve new trailers.
Even if you're not a customer.
Hold on.
Fries, right? So
a van driver told me, well, the van division needs new trailers, you know? And I'm thinking, like, well, van trailers don't get as beat up as the fucking flatbed trailers do. You know? I mean, they really don't. You know, the sidewalls get a little fucked up and stuff like that. They do get worn out over time, but flatbed trailers take a fucking beating. You know, the rub rails get all fucked up and stuff like that. That's just, you know, that's what I've seen. And they don't have to worry about winches and stuff like that. You know, they don't have to worry about all that. But anyways, it's just, those are some of the problems with this company. But, you know, all in all, look, some of the bads that I've talked about, I will say again, they're not that fucking bad. Yes, irritating and as annoying as they may be, you know, it's not like, oh, you know, fuck, I'm never gonna work there. You know what I mean? This company, I've said it before and I will say it again in this video, is, you know, you gotta take care of your business in this company. If you fuck, there is no rewards for, you know, fucking everything up. You know, if you're not running good miles, if you're causing problems, if every single day you're coming back to your DM with another issue, with another problem, you know, they're probably going to start getting tired of you. In fact, my theory is the drivers that suck, those are the guys that end up leaving, quitting, pissed off that they didn't make any money. I believe they just start squeezing, starving them for miles until they quit, so they don't have to fire them. You know, that's what I would think. You know, and as fucked up as it may seem, there's a lot of companies that do that shit. You know, I've worked for construction companies that do that. They wouldn't fire you. They just put you on a shitty job site 2 hours away until you said, fuck this, I quit, you know? But I'm just saying, like, if you do what you're supposed to do and take care of your stuff like an adult, you know, you won't have any problems. You know, if I don't bring up them fucking my paychecks up because my paychecks don't get fucked up because I fill out my paperwork correctly. You know what I mean? I do all my computer work for my loads correctly. You know, I do everything that's requested of me, so I don't have bullshit issues that a lot of drivers complain about. These are the big problems that everybody has to deal with. You know, if your DM's a fucking asshole, not everybody has that problem. My DM is not an asshole. My DM is a fucking great guy. Not the best DM in the world, but he's a hell of a nice guy, and he's got good communication, and he helps me out with problems that I have. Your experience may vary, you know what I mean? But, you know, some people aren't going to get out that brand new truck. They may get an older truck. It is what it is. First truck I had 350,000 fucking miles on it. It was still a decent truck, but, you know, your experience may vary. You know, there are some older trucks still floating around, but not very many. And worst comes to worst, you recover an old-ass truck, you could tell them, I don't want this, I want something new, and they'll give you a newer truck. You know, they will. So, I hope I kind of covered everything well, and I hope I kind of explained everything well, and, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to just shit all over the company, and I'm not saying, don't ever fucking work here. I'm just saying, those are the things about this company that I don't really like, you know. And as far as the miles and the inconsistency in the miles and stuff like that is part of the reason that I'm leaving, you know. And it's not just that, but it's also, you know, it doesn't make sense for me to keep staying here if I can make better money at another company, you know. So I'm waiting for my other company to approve me. I'm not leaving Western because I fucking hate Western. I'm leaving because I can make better wages working for another company. I can haul more specialized or curtain side if I want to for another company. I can't do that here. If, like I said, if they offered specialized, if they offered curtain side, if they had better you know, better, they offer better money, and maybe if they started adding more options to the trucks, I'd retire from this fucking company, or at least stay until I open my own business. You know, I would stay here, but you know, there's other companies that offer things that this company can't. That's why I'm leaving. You know, it's not because this company's a terrible piece of shit, but you know, I know the video went a little long, and if you stayed to watch all the way up until this point, I appreciate it, but you know, I wanted to make sure I explained all this shit well. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this video was helpful to anybody. And I'm done for tonight. So, I'll talk to you guys later.